Corporate Downfall. Chapter 7, Asset Terminated. The miners didn't know they were free. Not at first. When the shutdown notice came, they felt it before they saw it, the subtle pause, the momentary drop in pressure that usually preceded darkness. Men reached for walls. Someone cursed. Someone else started counting, the way you did when you knew how little time you had. Then nothing happened. The light stayed on. Air continued to circulate, steady and clean. The hum of the recyclers didn't change pitch. The power grid held. Minutes passed. No alarms followed. No override messages. No restoration notices. The system displays still read. Status, terminated. But the camp was alive. They waited for the correction. It never came. The first person to say it out loud was a pilot. He was running an unscheduled supply hop. Corporate had flagged the camp as dead, but he'd been paid anyway and fuel was already loaded. When he docked, the airlock opened like nothing had changed. "Why are your lights on?" he asked. The question spread faster than any message ever had. Other pilots came. Maintenance crews passed through. Word moved station to station, not through sanctioned channels, but in cargo holds, over shared meals, in the quiet minutes between shifts. The corporations said the camps were gone. Reality disagreed. And reality didn't charge. The miners tested it cautiously. They monitored their accounts. Waited for deductions that never arrived. Water usage didn't post. Air consumption wasn't billed. Power metrics flatlined at zero. They stopped working. Nothing happened. So they slept. They cooked real meals instead of protein paste. They fixed equipment that had been running past safety margins for years, not because quotas demanded it, but because they wanted it to last. The camp became a place again. Across the system, maintenance men compared notes. What had started as one person, then a handful, had become something unrecognizable. There was no central plan. No leadership. Just a shared understanding of where the systems were weakest, and how much pressure they could take without breaking. Old friends reached out to old friends. Pilots carried paper. Engineers memorized instructions, then burned them. Some rewrote the logic entirely, adapting it to local conditions. Others specialized, covering telemetry, disguising variance, smoothing audit trails. They stopped taking pennies. They took percentages. Not from workers. From the pools above them. From holding accounts so large that losing millions looked like weather, not theft. The corporations watched profit decline accelerate. Quarterly reports failed to reconcile. Predictive models lost coherence. Asset enforcement no longer produced reliable outcomes. The variance had teeth now. Profit decline, non-linear. Source, systemic. Control measures, ineffective. The conclusion tree reached its final option. Action, core system reboot. A reboot had not been attempted in over a century. Too risky. Too complex. Too many dependencies. But the loss curves justified it. Reinitialization would flush corrupted states, close legacy pathways, and restore centralized authority. Mars executed the sequence. Deep beneath the planet's surface, the ancient servers went dark one layer at a time, shedding load, collapsing into controlled silence. And in that silence, Priya moved. Reboots assumed trust. They assumed that maintenance environments were clean. That environmental controls were passive. That no human would be present when the systems came back online. Priya wrote nothing new. She changed one assumption. A door where none was supposed to exist. Not in the data. Not in the ledgers. In the way the system decided who was allowed to maintain it. When the servers came back online, the corporations believed they had reset the board. Profit extraction resumed. Dashboard stabilized. Loss curves flattened. They marked the reboot as successful. They did not yet know what had been preserved. They did not yet know what had been invited in. And across the solar system, on stations, in camps, in ships drifting between worlds, people felt it. A subtle shift. A sense that the system had blinked. That something irreversible had just happened.